Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, from wherever you are logging in from. My name is Miss Kim. I think now most of you who join us every Saturday are very familiar with my voice and my name. And we're yet on another podcast on English. Quite exciting. And please tell us where you're logging in from. Which city are you in? Which village are you in? Are you an educator? Would you like to get some of these materials? Are you in class with children every other day or in your own home? And you're concerned about how you can get access to resources. So we have a huge library of e-learning books. We print some subject to where you are and how you need them delivered, and they come with teacher's guide and videos as well. So we're honored to have Douglas, who is actually the author of the books and the donor. So this we are on a mission to ensure that especially marginalized communities in Africa can get access to these resources. However, I've seen us get audience from different parts of the world, and we're still very happy to collaborate and share the resources. So I'm gonna usher in Doug. Doug, you can join us. The mic is yours.
Good day, everyone. So excited to be with you today to talk about number 6, Jungle Fire, number 7, Monkey Star. Please keep in mind that we'll be talking about teamwork, working together. So much of learning the basic English to this point has been personal and by yourself, but now we're going to talk about working together. But in addition to working together, we need to practice. And so that brings us to Monkey Star. So I will turn off my video just to save bandwidth, and we'll get started. We do encourage those online to please join us. We appreciate your comments. We'll be looking for someone to actually read the stories and look forward to watching the videos. So let's go ahead and get started, please. Jungle Fire and Monkey Star. The brief background is we do have the other videos 0 through 5. So please get those links from Ms. Sally's team if you haven't watched those. Each lesson does stand alone. Next, please, those who are just joining us, this is the Zenglish program. Zen means to be comfortable with. So we want everybody to be comfortable, to think about, and skilled with English. Next page, please. So our goal is to train teachers to be able to present this multimedia turnkey total system to online and in-person classes. And if you're just learning English for yourself, that's okay too. We appreciate your input. We want basic English as a foundation for us all to communicate. On the agenda, we talked about the goal. We'll be going over the main points. Then we talk about what's simple, to keep in mind the simple 3 words as we go through Jungle Fire: sentences, stories, and teams. We talk about key words, concepts, sentences, and videos. But let's go ahead and just dive right into it. So the main points, what should we keep in mind as we read the book Jungle Fire? The jungle burns, the animals work together as a team, right? We also ask everybody to think about working together, but what's the benefit to each one of us as we learn this? And so we get to talk and to work English. There'll be a fire crisis. They try and they fail, and then they work together, they succeed, and they work as a team. And this is a fun story, but it also helps us with how we learn English in the same manner. Let's go to page 7, please, Miss Sally. Please keep in mind that there are 4 types of sentences. We use English to communicate, but also to tell stories. And that's why we use stories as a basis for learning English. And we work together in teams, whether it's learning English or in school, or most of my career certainly has been building airplanes, has been working in teams, and how English allows us to communicate with people around the world. Next is number 8, please, on the key words. To keep in mind, we always like to point those out. We don't need to go over those words, but these are the words that the teachers and the learners will want to know before they start the reading Jungle Fire. Everything from animals to aim to bamboo fire to teamwork to yelling and to whisper. And you can see the table of contents for more words. On page 9, please, we recap the concepts. We've talked about how the sound is the most common sound in English and how the letter U makes that sound. But in one of the features of English, and we talked in a previous lesson about where English comes from different countries, all the vowels can make the sound which is just a feature of English. But sometimes, you can see the examples there, but sometimes obviously the vowels make other sounds. So on page 10, we recap what is a sentence, right? A sentence is a group of words that share a thought. And so we've gone over the 4 types of sentences. Describe, they tell, they show emotions, or they ask questions. So we keep in mind the different types of questions as we go through the stories. So let's dive right into it here. There are described sentences, sentences that talk about the nouns, the people, the places, the things. My name is TJ, the turtle. Red bird flies, right? Blue panda eats. A big storm. We talked about how there's words that you can use to change out the described words, to add other words, right? Wouldn't be big storm, it'd be huge storm. Then number 2, some sentences tell us what to do or what not to do. Do not be late to class. Do our homework. Practice playing. Do not watch too much TV. Next page, please. Sentences show emotions. Frog is happy. She smiles. I am sad. I'm happy. TJ laughs. Next, questions. Some sentences ask and answer questions. Where am I? What can I do? How are you? Why do we ask questions? We ask questions to get answers, and it's one of the key ways that we can learn. Specifically to the story of Jungle Fire, watch for these 4 types of sentences, right? Like number 1, the sunny green jungle is full of life. Fire, fire, there is fire in the jungle. It's telling us what to do, to be concerned. A scared bunny yells. What is the bunny like? What emotion is it feeling? It's scared. 4, ask questions. What should we do? Flee or fight the fire? So with that background, let's get right into Miss Sally. Could we watch the video?
Yes, we can. So the jungle video.
The sunny green jungle is full of life. Suddenly, lightning flashes.
A tree crashes and a fire starts. The fire quickly grows. A parrot sees the fire and yells, "Fire! Fire!" A scared bunny yells,
What should we do?
We should flee.
said the vulture as it flies away.
Some of us cannot run away from the fire,
Said the snake.
I agree,
Said Mama Bird on her nest.
We should work together to put out the fire.
Said the wise tiger. The monkeys make baskets. Hippos fill the baskets with water. Water buffaloes pull the baskets closer to the fire. Elephants use their noses as hose to put out the fire. Oops! An elephant farts. The wind blows too. The fire gets bigger,
We need more water.
said the clever tiger. Together, they discuss a new plan. The beavers chop down bamboo. They poke holes in the center. The animals work as a team. They join the pipes together. Soon, water flows from the waterfall through the bamboo to the fire. Monkeys on the elephants aim the bamboo hoses at the fire. It takes a long time to fight the fire. Birds bring water to the thirsty firefighters. Finally, the fire is out. Hooray! Shout the jungle animals. Our home is safe now.
Together we fix the jungle fire. It takes our hard work to have harmony.
Thank you for that video, Miss Sally. Why we're watching the video and we can watch it over is we practice understanding the main points. We don't need to worry about every sentence and understanding every word, but understanding the main points of the story. So before we read, we take a pause and we look at rule number 6, big letters, the capital letters, right? Why do we call them capital letters is the subject of another story, but it's an opportunity to make sure the learners understand between the uppercase capital letters and the lowercase lower letters. So we use them to begin a sentence for proper names, right? So we use big letters. Miss Sally, do we have a volunteer to read the story Jungle Book, please?
Let me see. We have Mr. Ramon. Do you want to read? Farida. Hi, Farida. You're on mute, Farida. You're still on mute.
Hello, how are you?
We're good, thanks. And how are you?
I'm good.
Okay, are you able to join us and read the book?
Okay.
From the screen, the
Which one?
Jungle Fire book.
Okay. The Jungle Fire.
Yes.
Okay, just a moment.
Okay.
Jungle Fire, written by Douglas J. Alfred. The sunny green jungle is full of fire. There is a storm up in the sky. Suddenly, hot lightning flashes. A tree crashes and a fire starts. The yellow-orange fire quickly grows. A parrot sees the fire and yells, "Fire! Fire!" A scared bunny yells, "What should we do?" "We each should quickly flee," said the selfish vulture as it flies away. "Some of us cannot run away from the fire," said the snake. "I agree. It is hard for those who have a family," said Mama Bird on her nest. "We should work together as a team to put out the fire," said the wise tiger. The jungle animals think of a plan. Bold monkeys make baskets. Happy hippos fills the baskets with water. Strong water buffaloes pull the full baskets closer to the fire. Elephants use their long noses like horses to spray the fire. Oops! An elephant accidentally farts. The wind blows stronger too. The fire glows bigger. We need more water to put out the fire, said the clever tiger. Together, they discuss a new plan. Whisper, whisper, whisper. These beavers chop down tall, green bamboo. They poke holes in the center so water can flow through. The animals work as team. They join the supported bamboo pipes together. Soon, water flows from the waterfall through the bamboo to the fire. A monkey on an elephant aims the bamboo hose at the hot, rolling fire. It takes a long time to fight the fire. The tired animals work together as a team. Birds bring cool water to the thirsty firefighters. Finally, the fire is out. Hooray! Shout the excited jungle animals. Our homes are now safe. The happy team of animals celebrate with a big party. They do, hey, we just put out the huge jungle fire. Energetic dance. Tiger thinks about the day. Together, we put out the jungle fire. It takes our hard work to have harmony. Next, let's practice more English.
Ms. Farida, thank you so much. We really
You're
appreciate you
welcome.
reading that. It's always a challenge for me to read publicly, and you did excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I hope why Ms. Farida was reading Jungle Fires that we took time to look at the describe words, right, that were being read. We look at the different types of sentences. We look at the main points of the story, and we look at how the animals work together, just like we work together to learn and to practice our English. Next brings us to group chat. And just like we've done in the other lessons, we take a pause after going through all this, learning the words and the sentences, and we get together and we talk about them, right? What are the new words? What words don't we understand? We need to go look up in the dictionaries online or in printed dictionaries. What words can we talk about? What other words could we use to describe the animals? They weren't happy, they were glad, right? Or what could we use to describe the story? What did the people like about the story? What did people think could be better? We always love feedback on how we can make our stories better and clearer. So it's a good chat to have this group chat, a good chance to have this group chat and talk about this. Are there any questions or comments by those online, please?
Thank you, Doug. I'll check out. We might maybe continue, then I'll check the social media pages. But I can see Emmanuel saying we are together from Tanzania. And Alan says he's also watching from Tanzania. Thank you. Please give us your comments so far on the story. And if I could put up my comment, I don't know if it's Doug or Ramon or the grannies that give you such exciting stories. Because I can
All
only
the
imagine.
above. Just a quick digression. It was written by people in the USA. It was drawn by a person in Thailand. Mr. Ramon and his team put the books together and made the video, and his family. And so we appreciate this multi team across the world product that we get to put together, right? It's a lot of fun and we enjoy it. So we take
Well done.
a pause on page 25 and say, in addition to the interesting, the fun story, what are the skills that we're learning to help us be better and to improve our English. And so we take a pause and we say, remember, there are 4 sentence types. And you can go back in the previous pages if you want to practice those and recap, review. We use the sentences to tell stories, and we use them to help us learn to work as a team. And this is a picture from that artificial intelligence made as we described one of our books called Ogs, Zogs, and Useful Cogs. And so we'll talk more about that. That's available for advanced learners. But the main point is we work together to learn English. And if there's no comments, let's go look at page 26, please. There are also books available. I got to make sure, Miss Sally, that we've given them to your team there. But there's 2 volumes on, it's called Ogs, Zogs, and Useful Cogs, and it's how they work together to hunt using our distant ancestors as an example. And then years later, they forgot about how they work together, and they have to come back together, and they actually make Stonehenge there in England. And so it's a story of how they do that, working as a team. So there's 2 books out there for more advanced teams on to practice their English. So Ramon, if you'd like to just tell us a little bit about how you made the video, if you don't mind taking just a minute, please. Sir Ramon, you're on mute. If you're able to join us, please.
Sir, I'm sorry. My voice is not good today, sir. Can I be on monitor mode only?
No worries. I'll thank you so much. So it's interesting just to take the pause of how, like we mentioned, the words were talked about and proven in schools in America, sent electronically over to Mr. Ramon and his team in the Philippines. They put the books together, right, helped with the ebooks, but then also we worked together as a script, and he was able to make the videos as well, which is now being shown by people around the world. It's fun to take a pause and say, that's pretty amazing how we can use English to communicate, first to learn ourselves more, but then to work as a team and communicate around the world. So to finish this story, a fire burns in the jungle. What should the animals do? They can run away or work together to put out the fire. We work together to learn English. Are there any other questions before we press on to Monkey Star?
Farida, do you have a question? You're on mute.
Hello?
Yes, Farida?
No, I don't have any question so
Okay,
far.
thank you.
Would anybody like to share how we could use this with early learners? How can we better help teachers prepare? How would students as English as a second language be able to use these stories? Are they effective? How can we do it better? Any comments from those online, please?
Maybe I can add my part. So within a lot of projects we do, we encourage kids to learn collaboration. And that to me sounded like a nice video I could introduce to a class. So this will not be necessarily an English class, but a class where I'm trying to teach, which is early years, like 7, 8 to 9 year old kids, on how do we collaborate, what does that mean, how do you share responsibilities. And I think they're going to have a good laugh well at it. If I found it funny, I'm sure kids will find it extremely funny. Thank you.
Excellent comment. Thank you, Ms. Sally. Okay, so we as we've done in other lessons, we have 2 stories that we talk about, each about half the time. The second story is called Monkey Star, and we were taking our books decades ago to schools, and a teacher related the story of a student in her class who, for show and tell, at the beginning of class, brought a guitar. It was his brother's guitar, and he took it in the front of class and tried to play, and it sounded terrible. And the teacher asked, "Have you practiced? Do you know how to play?" And he said, "I'd never tried before." And how it was an opportunity to be brave about trying, but it takes practice to play a guitar or an instrument, but also a lesson for us on how we learn English. The English does take practice. And many learners around the world can learn to read by themselves, but have a hard time listening and speaking if you don't use it. So the whole purpose of this lesson is to practice. And we use it about a monkey learning how to play a guitar. We'll go over the keywords play, practice, and perfect. Perfect being in quotates. You may never be perfect, but at least we get better. We'll talk about, like we did last time, the keywords, the concepts, this time about nouns, key sentences, read the story, watch the video, talk about rules, do a group chat, the skills about understanding what we're reading and listening and speaking in English. We recap, talk about some easy and advanced, and that will be it for this story. So with that, let's just jump into it, please. On page 29, we look at the main points of the story. A monkey practices and practices how to play the guitar. We learn that English takes lots of practice too. So the theme is practice. Remember, in turtle jumps, it was to try, to be brave enough, to have courage enough to try. Here is to practice and not to be afraid to ask help from others. So in the story, the monkey tries to play, fails, practices and practices, keeps trying, and then succeeds. Obviously, we can use that same flow with English and how we all learn English. On page 30, simply, we do want to make sure that when we're learning English and applying it, like Ms. Sally said, to collaborate, to work together, we can use that in other fields than just learning English. Good point with all the science programs that we've talked about. We do want to make sure that we take the time to play, right? This needs to be fun. English is such a rich and a full language that learning it needs to be fun. And that's one of the reasons that we tell stories. But it's not just fun. We do have to practice again and again. And we try and retry until we get it perfect. Next is the key words, right? So it's important that team members take a pause and look up the words they don't understand, because if we don't understand the words, we won't understand the stories. And a lot of times, new learners will ask, where do we start, right? Where do I just start? And the answer is, you start with the words you don't know. So we go over, you can see the words are starting to get a little bigger, like excellent, right? Well, if excellent's too hard of a word, we can say very good, right? There are other words that we can use. So, and you can see the story, the table of contents there as well. We encourage y'all to look at those words, make sure everyone is familiar with the words before we read the stories. Next, in the 32, we get onto the concepts. And so we've talked about nouns. A noun is a person, place, or thing. And this is the picture there is from a previous story, but we can recap or review the sky, the birds, the clouds, the frogs, the flowers, the ducks, and the grass, right? And then we talk about the nouns like monkey, guitar, right, that are in this story. Like on page 33, like we've done other places, we do talk about the 4 types of sentences: describe, tell, emotions, and questions. And then we use examples throughout these stories, like a high energy rock star, Mo, quickly strums the purple strings. Number 2, practice first, then you will be able to play and speak English. 3, Mo is discouraged with falling shoulders. He slowly walks off the lonely stage. You can talk with the learners about emotions, right? Then we ask questions. Are you really ready to play, to try? Practice understanding the main points of the sentence before worrying about every word and every syllable. If there's no more questions, let's jump right into reading the story. Miss Sally, do we have a volunteer? Maybe Mr. Sebastian?
Mr. Sebastian, are you ready? Okay, looks like they're okay. He sent a message. They're having storms. Um, so I can give it a go. Okay, and I'm supposed to be animated, right?
We would
I'll,
appreciate that. Just make it a little fun to play, right?
I'll do my best. Oh, okay, but I had like Sebastian is back. Let me just check. And if he's not, I will go ahead. Sebastian, are you able to read? Are you with us, Sebastian?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've been out and in, and I've been facing the internet challenge. But I cannot read, you know, the page here. Can anybody help me when I'm just squeezing my phone, please?
Okay. So what are you saying? Are you able to read or you're not? Sh- should we wait
Um,
for you? Uh-huh.
I can.
Okay. No, I think your network is bad, so let me try to give it a go. So we're reading The Monkey Star. Mo walks in onto the quiet stage. He cautiously grabs the silent guitar. Like a pushy rock star, he strums the shaking strings. Twang twang. That sounds awful, said the confused crowd. Can you play the guitar? I don't know, said Mo. I've never tried before. Boo, 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 yells the grumpy crowd. Mo is discouraged with slumped shoulders. He walks off the lonely stage. Off stage, a teacher talks with Mo. First, practice, then you'll be able to play. Hmm, I don't understand. When you really want to learn how to play the guitar, fill up this form. Be ready to study and work hard. Mo thinks about it for a few days. He decides he does want to learn to play. He and his parents sign the permission form. For the first lesson, teacher Toy takes Mo to the beach. Toy points to the water. Mo asks, what do waves have to do with learning to play? You will see, says Toy. They wade out in the waves. Toy grabs Mo and holds him under the water for a few seconds. Quickly, Toy pulls Mo to the surface. Mo gasps for air. Mo is not hurt. Toy shows that one must really want goals that will take hard work to achieve. Teacher Tay tells Mo, when you want to learn, as much as you wanted air, call me. Practicing a new skill takes hard work, commitment, and lots of practice. Are you really ready? Mo thinks about it for a few days. He decides. Mo calls Tay. I'm ready. We start by learning the guitar language or lingo. The words of music are notes. Notes tell you how to hold your hands, also where to pluck the pick to make right sounds. Notes join together to make melodies of music. Mo smiles. I know what comes next. Practice and more practice. Toy replies, yes, practice playing songs that someone else wrote. Next is months and months of more practice. Tay teaches Mo how to write his own music too. Mo practices for more months and months. Later, it is showtime. With square shoulders, Mo walks confidently onto the warm, well lit stage. Self assured, Mo grabs his guitar. He plays and the crowd cheers. Wonderful! Excellent! Hooray! Happy Mo thinks to himself. It takes lots of practice to learn to play well. We learned that English takes a lot of practice too. Let's keep learning. Time for the video.
Not, let's take just a pause, Miss Sally. Is there anybody online? We'd love to hear about what did you like that story? Did you not like that story? And while we're waiting for the comments, just a quick pause moment. People ask, well, what about taking somebody out into the waves and dunking them under the water? Isn't that rude? Well, where that story came from was a trip to Greece in one of the museums there, Alexander the Great. So we're talking, 2,000 plus years ago. When he was little, his teacher, Aristotle, did that to him. And that's where that story comes from. And taking him out just to make sure we learn. And it's very applicable to all of us today, but especially those who have digital devices that are very distracting, the TikTok generation that are expecting so much to be quickly and to be easy, to be short. We need to help regain those skills of going out there. Learning English can be hard, it can be challenging, but it's worth it and it takes effort. So that's the story. Are there any comments before we watch the video? We'd just like to get some feedbacks on the story and the reading itself, please. Any comments?
Farida,
Hello.
do you have a comment?
Yes, I'll just want to add something on practice. As we all know that practice makes perfect. So I think we should encourage our students, especially the young learners, that it can be done through the practice. So they should not be discouraged when they fail to try to memorize some vocabularies or they fail to speak fluent English. So I think I will use it as one of my strategies with my kids so as to improve the teaching and learning of English. Thank you.
Excellent comment. Thank you so much. It is very important that the early learners realize there will be times when we get frustrated. There will be times we don't understand. You're not alone. It's not just you. Each of us go through this journey of struggling before we have a new skill. Thank you so much. Excellent comment.
And we have one comment from Zeno Benjamin. She's actually commented and asked a question. She says, "This is an interesting story of Monkey Star that reminds us practice makes perfect." And then she says, "Thank you for your presentation. I'd like to ask if there's any criteria used to classify key sentences in English language."
I open up to the community how to answer that question. It's an excellent question. I don't know the best way to classify them. I just use them in a story. When the students of these, and especially with the English as a second language, they can spend so much effort worrying about every letter, every syllable, that they lose the whole story. And so the way that we use this in the classrooms is we present it in a story so that people are looking at the whole story, not worrying about whether they understand every sentence, and it helps early learners. But I would love to open it up to the team here. Anybody else have a better answer?
Well, from my side, I think your answer was perfect. And I also love how you categorize, especially as a teacher's guide. And then they're able to prep the children. My other comment is I think the story preps children on getting to know it's not a bed of roses. It takes hard work, which is a big lesson to a lot of our children. And right now, we are looking at introducing 7-year-olds coding and robotics. And that sounds just like super hectic, super hard. They get excited, but of course, it gets difficult. And I think this would be a nice intro. Kids watch and they get to know you want to build that robot, you need to learn how to code. And this is, you need to practice, you need to pay attention. I think it's very important we get to teach our kids. Things will not be presented to them on a silver platter, and it's okay to fail. What is not okay is not to try. Thank you.
Excellent comments. Can we watch the video now, please?
Guitar. Mo tries to play. Like a rock star, he strums the strings.
That sounds awful!
Said the crowd.
Can you really play the guitar? I don't know.
Said Mo.
I have not played before.
The crowd yells boo! Mo feels discouraged. He walks off the stage. Teacher Tay talks with Mo.
First, you must practice. Then, you will be able to play.
Huh? I don't understand.
Teacher asks.
Do you really want to learn how to play the guitar? When yes, fill out this form. Be ready to study.
Mo thinks about it. He decides he wants to learn to play. He and his parents sign the permission form. They go to the beach. Mo asks,
What do waves have to do with learning to play the guitar?
You will see.
says Teacher Tay. They go into the wavy water. Tay holds Mo down under the water. Finally, Tay pulls Mo to the surface. Mo gasps for air. Teacher Tay tells Mo,
When you want to learn as much as you wanted air, please call me. Practicing a new skill takes hard work. Are you really ready?
Mo thinks about the lesson for a few days. He decides. Mo calls Tay.
I am ready to work hard.
Teacher begins the lessons.
Start by learning the language of music, the lingo. The words of music are notes. Notes tell you how to hold your hands. You then pluck the pick to make different sounds.
Teacher Tay replies.
At first, practice playing songs that others write. Next is months and months of more practice.
Mo practices and practices. Next, Tay helps Mo write his own music too. Today is showtime! Mo confidently goes on the stage. Mo grabs his guitar. Mo plays. The crowd claps loudly. They cheer, Wonderful! Excellent! Hooray! Mo smiles and thinks about what he's learned.
It really takes hard work to play well.
We'd love to hear comments from the team, please, before we press on and review a couple of subjects and rules. Any questions or comments, please?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. Apologize for a couple of challenges, but thank you so much for playing the SCORM, the video. And this is one of the interesting part of teaching learners, part of practice and collaboration. And remember that practice always makes perfect. And I've seen the SCORM when Mo was really working on, music like plays guitar. There's also try and error. You make some errors, but then you correct yourself to do a little bit better. But I want us to add that remember, collaboration is a part of the core skills. We want our kids right now to embark on the collaboration as the core skills. And this works as a system in a classroom situation, works in a system in an institution. Like we need to involve or engage everybody that works in the system. For example, could be a system of learners in a classroom that works collaborative with the teachers, with the administrators and stakeholders to achieve whether academic goals or any potential related to the learners. Could be the system of how we see everybody and how we can support each other by ensuring that you carry on someone on top of the shoulder. Whether you're down, make sure you help others. So this is really connection. The SCOM is really connecting to the world of classroom. Thank you for bringing this on board, Douglas.
Mr. Sebastian, those are excellent comments. Thank you. The trial and error piece is so important to this, especially when we see YouTube videos and social media where it sounds like miracles happen immediately, right? The whole younger generation needs to know it takes trial and errors. There are so many examples in science, right? The first airplane didn't fly first, right? It took a lot of trial and error. Your comment about engaging with all, make this inclusive, fantastic. If you've ever seen birds like geese that fly in a wedge shape, the way that they all keep that shape. When one gets tired, they all encourage that bird to keep up, and so it's the same way with learning English. We can encourage each other. We don't need to put each other down. We can work together and all build each other up. So excellent comments. Thank you. Let's jump right into, so we've got about 10 minutes left in the class. So as in the other stories, there's a rule. And so this one is S nouns. And for English as a second language to many learners, there are languages out there that don't put S's on their nouns, right? So we need to learn from apple become apples, book becomes books, ducks become ducks. And so we learn about the S, but as English has features, and we've talked about why, it's not just S. There are breakers to that rules where sometimes it's ES, like buses, watches, brushes, boxes. And we also know it's IES, like babies, right? And so English has features. It takes practice to learn these exceptions. And we talk about making nouns into plurals. Next page, please. So a good opportunity for a group chat, right? We've talked about jungle fires. We've talked about monkeys that learn to fly, but it's an opportunity to go back to the previous lessons and pull from them, like remember the bird, the robin that learned to fly. And so we now, with the new knowledge we have of asking questions about the sentences, we can go back and look about it and say, green jungle burns. Well, green describes jungle. What's the action word? Burns, right? What are they doing? The yellow-orange fire, how it describes fire. The red robin flies in the sunny blue sky. We use sentences from the Monkey Star book to reemphasize all that we've learned about nouns and verbs and describe words, right? In the order, all so we can help put this together. So any questions and comments, please? We've got a couple of new people joining. Miss Sally, can we just make sure we see if they have any comments, please?
Hey, Selassie. Selassie, can you hear me?
Hi, Miss Kim.
Hi. Your volume is pretty low. Okay. Would you like to comment on this?
Hi. Let me tell you.
We can't hear you well.
Hello.
Hi.
I can hear you.
Yes,
Hi.
do you have a comment or a question?
Not really.
Okay. Thank
We
you.
appreciate participating with us. Thank you. Let's jump right into the next page, please. Like we've done other places, what's the pause moment? What skills are we learning? What's the benefit to the teachers and to the students and to all of us about learning this simple story about a monkey that learns to play the guitar? He plays, practices, and then he can be perfect. He succeeds. We also take a pause and we seek to understand English. We're going through all the pain of this so we can understand, right? So to recap Monkey Star, Mo walked onto a stage without knowing how to play the guitar. As you can imagine, this does not go well. Later, Mo learns that playing takes lots of practice. We learn that learning, speaking, talking, using English takes lots of practice too. The trial and error, like Mr. Sebastian mentioned. Absolutely. We do like to take a pause moment, and English is such an inclusive language, right? It's not just one group of people in one country that speaks it, it's around the world. And it's so fun to take that pause and to bring social media into this, right? And so many of our classes are telling students, put your phone away, shut it off. Well, at this point, we bring it in and we say, turn your phone on, let's talk about it, right? Talk to us about your favorite video game, right? How does it use English, right? Talk to us about social media and how you're using English to communicate with friends around the world. Talk about how scientists use English to collaborate, ideas from around the world to help us come up with different solutions to our global problems, right? The world has many problems, but if we work together, we can help fix them. So it's fun to realize that this isn't just helping each one of us, it's helping all of us together. If there's no questions, let's take a pause or a tangent and just say, some of this, the words here are getting bigger. Some of the students will get frustrated. And so let's go back to page 44, please. Go on to page 44. There's a story called Bees Sneeze, and it's easier. And so the students can go. These two pictures were put together by artificial intelligence. The story was handwritten, but it's about a bee that wants to pick the pollen to make the honey, but the bee has allergies, and every time it gets close to a flower, it sneezes. So, how can a bee overcome the obstacles, the challenges to become a pollen picker? And so, obviously, the analogy, the example is that as the bee struggles to overcome the challenge of sneezing, those of us who are struggling with English can overcome it and learn to speak better English. So it's a fun story called Bees Sneeze. Next, there's a more advanced story about, it's based on the true story of how, if you're familiar with, there's a fish called salmon here in the Seattle area, and it's born in fresh water. The eggs and the little fish flow out to the saltwater sea. It spends years out there in the sea. It swims about 1,000 miles and it comes back and it actually jumps up the waterfalls and then lays its eggs, and the salmon dies, but then starts the cycle all over again. But it's amazing how it starts out in fresh water, lives its life in the sea, comes back to fresh water. And it's an analogy of trial and error, practicing. The story's called Swim Up the Waterfall. We've covered a lot in this subject, a lot of subjects in this lesson. We've taken what we've learned in the previous lessons, the sounds that become words, the words that become sentences, the sentences become stories, and how all this is so that we can understand English better. And as a basis, then we can go and learn any subject, right? It's so fun to ask the students, what are you interested in? What do you want to know? How can you use this English that you're learning to then apply it in a career, right? What are you interested in? It's fun, some of the questions they'll come up with. So, Miss Sally, we've got about 5 minutes. Can we open it up for questions and comments, please?
Yes, good idea. And maybe as we wait, I'm sure Sebastian has questions, Farida, Selassie, and Mr. Ramon. Just to add our listeners, thank you, thank you. I can see several comments on LinkedIn. I'll get to it, to reading them. Thanks for joining us. And people listening out there, you can see the page with Indeed Project. You can get on the website. We are looking for financial support so we could be able to print these books and take them to communities within the continent. Currently, we've donated quite a number, and from next week, we're busy with schools, reading sessions, and distributing books. So join us if you know where we can get funding, and join us if you need some resources that you can take to your community. Reach out to us. You can DM me. You see our socials. You can reach me on Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn. And for Tanzania, please reach out to Sebastian. He's doing a lot of work there. And as we know, Tanzania has 70 million plus people, and it's a huge country. So that's quite a lot of work. Please reach out to Sebastian. If you know how you can support him, reach out to communities and support literacy. And just so you know, the library is quite expansive from maths books, sciences, technology. We have books on AI, we have books on computing, we have lots and lots of books. Anything, mention it, we can avail it for you. Then I can go to Sebastian. You have a question, or Selassie?
Yeah, maybe a question that we can share together. When I was really following the conversation, Douglas talked of the practice and collaboration through stories and the English, vocabulary and item that you mentioned. So one of the challenge that as a teacher I've been facing is practices and collaboration because of the diverse, community where students are coming from. Sometimes it's really hard to bring student in engagement. So as an experienced expert in teaching and in working with literacy, do you have any sort of strategies or some tips that you use to bring the student in a mutual collaboration, like to collaborate together and make something worthwhile, like bring a productive, uh, things in their learning? Would you share to us, please, or anybody?
I'll start if that's okay. And first, we make sure that the students are all on the same page to begin with, right? When, for example, the story about jungle animals, we make sure people understand the animals, right? And then we've had different countries saying, hey, those aren't the animals that we have around us. And so we say, okay, let's talk about the animals you have around you and how we could change the story to be more aligned with the local animals that you have, right? We don't have many tigers roaming around America, but we do have lots of mountain lions, for example. So one class in the US changed the story from being tigers to being mountain lions, the pumas. It's like, okay, that works, right? So to answer your question, Mr. Sebastian, we make sure they have a common understanding and then we grow together. Anyone else from the team have comments?
Farida,
Hello.
do you have a
Um,
question?
yeah, I was just, it's rather a comment. I was just wondering if I could have more such similar stories like the ones we have read today, because I've just come to realize they are very engaging and very somehow funny. So they're sort of stories that the kids will love to learn. So I was just wondering, how can I get more similar stories just like that so that I can share with my kids at school?
We have 100 different subjects that we'd love to share through Ms. Sally and Mr. Sebastian, and we always take suggestions for more stories. We welcome your input.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Ms. Sally, I
I'll
think we're
share.
about out of time. Do you want to wrap this up, please?
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Farida. Yes, we're very happy to share with you our audio books library, our ebooks, and just get to know each other more and see how we could bridge the literacy issue in Africa. Thank you, Douglas. As always, a very, very nice presentation and very, very funny story. I can't wait to show kids next week because I know, especially the elephant farting, is just gonna get them rolling on the ground. For some reason, farting is just funny to kids and adults. So I can
Some
see.
adults raise their eyebrows, but most of the kids laugh, and we're just trying to get them to laugh and to learn.
Yeah, yeah. And we actually try to make learning as fun as possible. And especially next week, it will be ice breaking. We're meeting these children for the first time. And these are hundreds and hundreds of kids. So it's, it's always difficult to try and break the ice, and you try so many different ways. So once you start with kids laughing, then you make them laugh, they get to like you, and they'll be keen to listen. So Douglas, you've done an amazing job. We're super happy, we're excited. Thank you, Farida. Thank you so much, Sir Ramon, Sebastian, and your handsome brother, God love, Selassie, all the way in Ghana. Selassie is joining us from Ghana. And all our other listeners, I see a lot of engagement. Emmanuel, Zeno, I saw Dr. Alo in US and many others who joined us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We appreciate this. It can't be possible without you. And we look forward to seeing you next week on Saturday, same time, same place. Inshallah. Asante.
Inshallah.
Bye, everyone.
Asante. Thank you. Enjoy your weekend.